Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Golly, what a great group of people. Just finished a fantastic show with Gil on Green Man Prepping. He did a wonderful job talking about FEMA and their capabilities and limitations and understanding of all the different levels of interaction that have to take place. He also showed us where you can go to take some of the courses. Oh, as a matter of fact, I've got that here. I'm continuing my education. I keep it on up here all the time. So I'm always working on something, but let me see here. Where's FEMA? Mail, be warned, survival blogs. There's the course I'm actually taking. There it is. So here's the Federal Emergency Management Institute. So this is the Federal Emergency Management Institute, and this is one of the first courses they take, IS 100, Introduction to the Incident Command System. So and he walked that through us. And so as part of ARES, I have to take there are 5 specific courses I have to take. And then, of course, with CERT, there are 3 courses we must take. So but they're the same ones, kind of. So, things are looking pretty good. Gil did a wonderful job teaching that. So I'm going to put the link to his show in the show notes. So if you're watching this as a replay, please go back and watch Gil's show as well, because I think you'll learn an awful lot. So let's see who all's here. Come on. My mouse, and then I get a note that the battery's dying. So Gil is here. Kaylin Strain is here. Sumi, Utah Mike, I think I saw, and Prepper for the Ages, Little Lone Prepper, Maggie, I'll see Life. Maggie, your products, your gifts arrived before the live show, so we've already opened them up and taken a look at them. Muskoka Oma. And then let me see who else. Diana 2, Utah Mike. I think I said Utah Mike. I hope I did. And okay. So, wow, we got quite a group. North Carolina Farmer, welcome. Good evening. Always good to see you. So let me see. Kaylin Sain says she got her GMRS license issue straightened out, and she did have to request an address correction on the site to nix an error. So my recommendation to you, Kaylin, for just SIGSEC and for OPSEC purposes, I never put out my call signs, whether that be ham call sign or GMRS call sign, simply because you can go to the QRZ.com and look up anybody's call sign, and it'll give you everything that's registered with the FCC. I did not want people coming to my house because that's where I had it registered. I was talking with Jim, who we did an interview with him a couple of weeks ago on Monday, and I think it was back in maybe the first week of August, might have been the first week of July. But anyhow, he told me to go in and get yourself a post office box and re-register your address with the FCC to your post office box. So I did. So that's why now I can post my call signs, because if anybody's looking for me, they'll find me at that post office box maybe once a week. But anyhow, so that's the way it goes. John's Life, that's a new name. Welcome. Good to see you, my friend. Joanna, good evening. Welcome. And Tech by V. And John's Life, you're absolutely right. So once you get the address, then they just Google it and they can take a look at your house and everything else. And it wasn't the best operational security thing, so I was kind of reticent about ever putting that out. But now, of course, everybody has an access to it. Okay. So we're finishing up, and it's not that much of a finish up. There's probably 5 pages in the chapter, but we're going to do an awful lot about the appendices. And I also have his website up because it's a fantastic website. I love his website. I go to it on a regular basis, and we'll do a little bit of a walk around on his website as well. In my opinion, this is probably one of the most authoritative preppers out there. I would listen to him before I would listen to a lot of others. So we are going to finish up the last chapter in this book tonight. And then don't forget that this is going to be a week from this Thursday. We're talking about John Grammer's book, United. It's book 2 in his, what's it called? Overrun series, America Overrun series. All takes place down in Utah, Mike. So, this is primarily talking about some of the gangs and motorcycle clubs and all different kinds of things that you would feel right at home. Now, here's the good news. I put it up today. Mr. Grammer is going to be on that show a week, the 29th, I believe it is, with us. So discussing the book with us as we do it. We're going to have a drawing. So make sure you get all your friends you can, because we really want to get his books exposed to the general public. They're fantastic. He's a great author. We need to support him. But we're going to give away an autograph set of both of his books during that live on Thursday, the 29th. So you have to be present to win, but we are going to be giving away autographed copies of both of his 2 books. Okay. So make sure you're here. Starting next week, and you can get this in the show notes down below if you want to order it. We're going to do the Crisis Preparedness Guide, and that's how to survive the coming collapse. They're talking primarily here about a financial collapse. Okay. So if you follow Mike Maloney, in his channel is Gold Silver, and then I also follow Robert Kiyosaki and Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Man, Poor Man. I also follow Gregory Mannarino, and he does 2 lives a day, one when the market opens and one when the market closes. There's another guy out of San Diego. What's his name? It'll come to me. But he does a fantastic job, especially with the real estate market. So things are not looking good for our financial industry, and I can tell you that much. And so I think we probably need to take a look at another possibility of things that could happen. Now, I don't mean to be a Chicken Little kind of guy, okay? So I don't like to harp on threats or anything like that. I like to focus on prevention, or what we can do as far as preventive actions in case something does happen. And I like to focus on remedial actions. What can we do once it does happen to survive and survive well? So I'm not going to say that this is imminent. There is a channel out there that says that the Iranian attack is imminent. And today is the 20th, I believe. And so that imminent attack has been going on now for 21 days because they started that on the 31st of July. And today's the 20th of August. So I don't want to be that kind of a guy where I'm saying, something's imminent all the time and get you all worn out and everything else. I just want you to know there are things you can do to prepare for it, and there are things you can do to remediate the amount of effect it has on your life, as well as prepare so that you can rebuild afterwards. That's what we're really focused on. Theoxerus, good evening. Welcome. Let me see. So, it's 105 here in Austin area, and it feels like 114, and they say it's going to be even hotter tomorrow. So they're afraid that may put a lot of strain on our electric power system. And so they're asking people, ERCOT, which is the Electricity Reliability Council of Texas. It's about 20 miles from here. And as a matter of fact, I know the executive director. She was a customer of mine when I had the shipping store. Wonderful lady. But anyhow, they're asking people to kind of turn the thermostats up a little bit so we don't have quite as much draw on electricity for air conditioning, and to reduce the amount of overall electricity being consumed tomorrow, because it's going to put quite a strain on our electrical grid. So I won't be able to do lighting type of videos or anything like that. So let me see. Yeah, I got greedy with the stock market and lost everything. So I was a Dellionaire. For those of you who don't know, I worked at Dell, and there were 2 months we didn't get paid. We got Dell stock in lieu of payment if we were willing to do that. And then of course I was there through 6 stock splits, and we had employee stock purchase plan, and I mean, it was very easy to become a Dellionaire. And so then when I left Dell, Dell stock went from 85 down to 62. So I went to my stockbroker and I said, give me 20,000 shares on margin. And I bought 20,000 shares on margin. Then it went from 64 down to 32 within the next 3 days. And of course, that was the same time that we had, what was that energy company out of Houston? They went bankrupt. And, the stock market just went, I lost everything. As a matter of fact, I still had to pay Prudential $1,000 a month for the next 18 months because I not only did I lose everything, but I had to pay $18,000 in interest for having lost it. So I don't play the stock market anymore either. When you get greedy, you learn how to. You learn that greed is not a good thing. John's life talking about barter, basically. I'm at the point now where I think if I barter anything, it's going to be my services for certain things that on what I know and what I do. So, Storms, Radios, and Cats, good evening. Good to see you. Butch Graves, welcome. Good to see you as well. Yeah, we keep not only do we keep all our blinds shut, but we all let me see. Not only do we keep all our lights off, we keep all our blinds shut so that the energy doesn't come in. Because this is facing due north here, and then that's due south. So this is west, and sunset comes through that window, and of course through this window over here indirectly. And then that's the east where the sun comes up over that direction. So we kind of get that setting sun pretty sharply into most of the windows are over on this wall, on the west wall. Yeah, and even the people who work in the industry, John's life, because I was an HR director for an electric power co-op, and we were on second generation linemen, and the second generation linemen are now retiring and trying to find third generation linemen who are willing to work under such austere conditions, whether hot summer days or ice storms that take down a pole or a line or a transformer, and get them out there to do that. Thank you, Kaylin. Yes, it was Enron. You're right. Thank you, Tuck by V. Yeah, absolutely. And so, but we can't. It's very difficult. It was very difficult when I left the industry to find people because most of the co-ops are out in rural areas. And so getting people to leave the amenities of the city and go out into a rural area and work, and especially under austere conditions, but fantastic pay and benefits. I got to tell you, best pay and benefits that I've seen in my 21 years, 1991 until 2022. So that's 32 years. Yeah, 32 years in HR management. Yeah, they're just fantastic. Okay, let me see. Okay, finally, Muskoka Uma. Let's see what she has to say here. I'm finally able to have my window air conditioner turned off today. Tennessee fans in the windows sucking in the cool air. Tomorrow I'll be closing the windows when I get up to keep it cool in here tomorrow. Yep. Well, thank God you're not here in Texas. We as a matter of fact, I'm still in awe that I have green grass. Now it's starting to brown up. We're starting to get the final effects, but usually we have somewhere in the vicinity of 90 days over 100 degrees. And we had the coolest July on record. And so far in August, we've only had 2 days over 100, 2 or 3 days over 100. And usually August is 30 days of over 100 degrees. And so is September. So, things are looking great here. Okay. Now that we've got all that out of the way, let's take a look at the book. And cash may be the way to go. Let alone prepper. I was talking with, as a matter of fact, this morning at our men's breakfast, they asked me to give a small presentation on things like that and what to do in case of financial collapse. And I was talking about, you need to have cash. This guy says, "Oh, I have at least 20 $100 bills." I said, "No, you need smaller." I said, "If you have a 20, may be hard to break in a post-apocalyptic world. So ones, tens, and fives is what I recommend that everybody have. That's going to be something that's going to be very, very good for you." I would imagine, and they have some of the best foods, I've been told, as well. I still want to make it to a Texas State Fair. I can't believe I've never been to one in my entire life. Okay, so it all comes down to you. And regardless of which collapse it is, it doesn't matter whether it's World War III, it doesn't matter if it's financial collapse, if it's a pox lockdown, I don't care what it is. The next collapse is going to be a come as you are collapse. And that's what he says here in this. It was written in 2009. It's when it happens, what you have is what you have. And so that's going to be your skills, knowledge, abilities, training, reflexes, the things that you've stored up, the contacts that you've made, the associations that you have, the books that you've read. That's going to be critically important to you when it happens. Okay. It doesn't appear to be that important to us now, but it's going to be critically important to you when it happens. So he talks about some fantastic places to get some great medical training. I did not check to see if they were still active or not. But if you have the book, he says some of the medical places that he likes are frontsight.com, Gunsight, and this is SITE, not SIGHT.com, the RWVA Appleseed Project, the WRSA, and ARRL. Of course, ARRL, I know that is up because I'm a member. That's the American Radio Relay League. But he says join those and get their training. I also would add to that, join your local CERT organization. I will tell you, the best training I have received in preparedness has been through CERT, because they teach you fantastic first aid. They teach you search and rescue. They teach you a little bit of communications. You go through the entire FEMA incident command post and all that planning and reacting, how logistics are run during an emergency. I mean, phenomenal training. Join your CERT organization and get some great training. I don't know about the rest of them, but our local area here, I got a backpack, a first aid kit, tools, a hard hat, a vest. I mean, I got all kinds of stuff out of it for free just by completing all the training. So, then all you have to do is respond when they call you. I would also recommend ARES, the Amateur Radio Emergency Services Organization, ARES. In order to be a member of ARES, it's strongly recommended you have a ham license. And our ARES group also, since Williamson County Emergency Management does most of their radio connections, because we have, Red Cross, we have Austin has its own interfaith emergency reaction team. We have the Baptist disaster response team. We have the Catholic Emergency Services. We have all these different organizations that we can call upon and will interact with us during the emergency. So it was decided here in Williamson County that we will all interact on GMRS. So all of our ARES people not only have to have ham, but we also have to have GMRS licenses so that we can intercommunicate with all the other agencies that we'll be providing communication support for. So he says, if you're serious about preparedness, this is the time to get out of your wheelchair, start training, and start preparing. You need to devote a little bit of time and attention to learning the crucial skills for self-sufficiency, self-defense, and survival. And that's something you can train your children for. So he says, challenging times are here. They're on our doorstep. And he was saying this 2009, and it still applies today. This is the opportunity for you to go out and seek out and learn. I would say spend a little bit of time on YouTube as well. Now I'm going to tell you, I'm going to caution you. There are lots of so-called experts that are giving some bad advice. And so I would encourage you, if somebody says do this or do that, just think it out and say, does that sound appropriate? Okay. If they are into a whole bunch of mantras and cliches, probably they aren't going to be that effective in what they're telling you. But there are also some very good guys out there. I really like Such. What's his name? I forget his channel's name. Gil has a fantastic preparedness channel, and that's Gil, help me. My mind is I didn't take my fish oil this morning. East Tennessee Preparedness has a great channel, and he just popped in. Welcome to you, Jim. So there are lots of great Sensible Prepper. Thank you. Such is the Sensible Prepper. There are some great ones out there. God's Family and Guns. He talks a lot about guns. He does a lot of religion and faith and everything like that. That's great to integrate all of that as well. And he actually goes in and interviews people. Maggie, who owns a gun shop there in Missouri, where God, Family, and Guns comes from. So, there are some really good channels out there. So, I would stay focused on the people who are giving you instructions on how to survive. Goshen Prepping. He's a retired Army doctor. So he gives wonderful advice on his channels. And I would say go to him as well. But I want to show you this. This is one of the oldest websites as well as one of the best out there. So this is James Wesley Rawles's website. I need to go here. So this is his site, survivalblog.com. And I wrote an article on waste management, controlling human waste. It wasn't selected for printing, but every day somebody sends in an article that they write and submit it, and he approves it, and they publish it. And you can go back to 2005, I believe, and see all the wonderful articles that have been written on different subjects. You can also do subject searches and everything else. Let me get back over here. Iridium 242 just popped up. So I think that's his son has taken over the channel for him. He just passed away here a couple months ago. Utah Mike. I'm sorry, I did not see that. However, I wholeheartedly support your decision. I think that I have my beliefs, and I admire anybody who has a belief system in a higher entity in God, and so we may do it differently, but we all worship the same God. So I don't tolerate bashing anybody else's religion. I don't care what it is. We need to respect each other, and we're all children of the same God. We're all descendants of Adam and Eve, so we're all related, and we need to start treating each other an awful lot better than what we have been, and not dividing ourselves by religion. So Kaylin says yes, it is the son. The son is starting to get things rolling on his dad's channel. But that is when it's up, that's a fantastic channel. What's her name? Rogue Prepping. Rogue Preparedness is a good one. Now, she's going to be down for about a month because she's having a baby. I like Prepping with Sarge. I like Pete has a good channel. The Rogue Prepper, I believe it is. Roaming Prepper. And there's some good channels out there. And so I just strongly recommend spend a little bit of time on each one. Don't devote all your time to YouTube, but spend some time and learn from some others. Books are phenomenal, and of course in here. And let me get on there so I can actually manipulate around in this. In here, he has a resource page, and so down here, he has a survival gun selection. So how to choose the best gun for you, and then he has people who own retreats, and this is their retreat owner profiles, where they are, how much they're asking to join in. There's some really intensive investigation on how to determine whether or not you're going to be compatible. He has protection from pandemics. You see, the survival blog bookshelf is what I really wanted to show you. So he has, a whole bunch of books that he recommends. And so, I say it's very worthwhile to go through his list of books, of recommended books. I would offer there's another. There are other translations of the Bible that I would also recommend that you take a look at. As a professional translator, I will tell you that there's always problems with translations. And people sometimes translate things that are in a way that's advantageous to themselves. So if you aren't willing to learn Greek, which is what most of the New Testament was written in, or Hebrew, which is what most of the Old Testament was written in. Now, there are 6 books in the Old Testament that were written in Greek, and the Jews threw those out of their canonized Testament about 100 AD. We keep them in the Old Testament simply because they were still in part of the scriptures at the time that Jesus walked the earth, and he quotes a couple of them. So, and there are 2 holidays in there that when you throw them out because they were written in Greek, you throw out 2 Greek Jewish holidays, but they still celebrate them. So, but anyhow, so I would say check out a whole bunch of different things to if that's going to be what you want to do. Don't rely on just one. Where there is no doctor, where there is no dentist, the Encyclopedia of Country Living, Making the Best of Basics, the Valley Blue Book of Preserving, which is also canning. Then he's got the Nuclear War Survival Skills. We did that as a book review here by Preston Kearney. Phenomenal book. He's had 3 editions of it. I've got editions 1 and 3. Mel Tappan's books are always outstanding. Mel Tappan is going to be basically bug out type survival. Okay. Then he's got a list of websites that he also likes. He has, if you'll remember, on chapter 2, we did his list of lists. So it's basically planning a plan for the apocalypse. And so he has his list of lists here on the website as well. Let me get in here, list of lists. There we go. Whoops, it wants to download. But anyhow, you got all that on how to invest. He's got information on investing and different things. Then he has a list of all the people he's an affiliate with and recommends as far as purchasing things. So that's his website. And, I would strongly encourage you to go to it, survivalblog.com, and, become familiar with his works. He's just a phenomenal guy. He has 3 fiction books. And it's all about basically some brothers and a family. The 2 brothers are basically, one's on the East Coast and one's down in Texas, and how they have to go through all these juxtapositions to make it home. The first book is called Patriots. I remember that, and I forget the names of the other 2, but it's a 3-book series. Really good series. As a matter of fact, because of reading that series, that's why I invested in Mercury Dimes, because most of the stuff that they purchased was with the 60% silver Mercury Dimes. So that got me into Mercury Dimes an awful lot. Let me go up here and see where we are. I've obviously missed a lot of chat. Also, Tammy Harder says the same thing. Wow, thank you. I did not know that. Thank you, Little on Prepper. Appreciate that. Absolutely, Maggie. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, he only gave us one new commandment, and that is that you love one another as I have loved you. And so that, when we bash other people because of the way they believe or because of the color of their skin, their gender, or anything like that, that's not showing God's love. And I don't care. We are in this together. And so that's the way we've got to do it. If you take a look, as a matter of fact, if you take a look on my every time I do a description, in the description, you're going to find that there's a quote from Proverbs, the book of Proverbs. The second one is going to be a quote from Martin Luther King. And so, that's, I believe very strongly, we need to be kind, polite, and respectful to each other for who we are, what we believe, and how we do it. And that's the only way we can get through this together, is if we do that. When we start bashing people because of who they are or what they believe, that gives us no opportunity for collectivism. And I don't mean communism. Okay, I am totally anti-communist. I mean collectivism, where we have an opportunity to do what our forefathers, our founders of our country, really thought we were going to do, and that is live in peace and harmony and build a country that had the capability for all of us collectively to succeed. John F. Kennedy, a Democrat, gave a wonderful speech back in the 1960s, and what he said was, in a rising tide, all ships float higher, or something to that effect, right? So that if our country is improving, everybody has to improve with it. But on the other hand, the implication is, if our country's sinking, everybody goes down with it. So it's in our best interest to raise it, and then enjoy the fact that other people are gaining from that as much as we are, because they're also inputting into it, and because of their input, we're all gaining. So, yes, I saw that today. Matter of fact, I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, it's the same one I'm going to do a video on here shortly. The one I just bought and had delivered last pantry haul Saturday. I like pineapple on pizza. Now, I won't mix pineapple and anchovies. I have a problem with that. But other than that, creative redundancy, welcome. Good evening. Let me see here. Yes, well, there are two choices, and I'm going to say that these are almost identical. I have an 870 12 gauge, and then I have the Remington 870 12 gauge, and then I have a gosh, I need fish oil. The 500. I want to say Merlin, but that's not it. In a 20 gauge. But anyhow, but they're almost identical shotguns. And that's, yes, so I strongly recommend either one. Pump shotgun, do not go for the automatic. Too complicated. The opportunity for breakdown is too great. Suspicious Observer is a great show. It's only 2 or 3 minutes long every morning. Probably, I want to say between 6:30 and 7 hour my time here in Texas. Yes, and he's collecting money for that, so he can be a founding member. I'm not sure. I think he may have closed it, but they're about ready to put out their magazine as well. Really? I'll have to check that out. Thank you. Is that available here on YouTube, or is that solely in your area? I like PrepperNet, and so that's what this is. Okay, and PrepperNet has local. It's a YouTube channel, but they also have local groups that meet. So I belong to two groups. Belong to the one for Austin, and I belong to the one for San Antonio. So that's 2 Saturdays a month I get to go to training, and It's usually the first and second Saturdays of the month. Oh, wow. Okay. Take care, Oma. It was good to see you. I'm taking new pills for my neuropathy. And so I was supposed to go represent St. Vincent de Paul at the Interfaith Alliance this morning for a breakfast. But this new pill that they have me on for neuropathy is kind of knocked me out last night. And somehow or other, it magically turned off my alarm clock, because I'm sure my ears were working and heard it if it had gone off. But for some reason, I just kind of did not sync with the alarm clock this morning. And when I did get up, I was a little bit on the groggy side. So I think that pill was probably, I'm going to blame it on the pill. So if that's okay. Let me see. Uh-oh. I wholeheartedly agree. Less division, more unification. And by the way, that's what this is. He does a really good job in here of showing how to unite several different groups into one cohesive group that's working together collectively. And how do you share? Because different groups are going to have different strengths. When you start talking about preparedness groups, like, you're going to have one person who's probably better at medical than I am, and one person who's better at communications than I am, and another person who's better at tactics and defense than I am. So be willing to allow the people who know more about something than you do to be the leader of that, so that they can train everybody up to somewhere close to their level of skill. And and that means that a lot of times that you can't control everything. You've got to be willing to step back a lot. So Marlin 500. Yeah, it is the Marlin 500. Thank you. Well, I like anchovies. I just don't like them with pineapple. And Marlin is now owned by Remington. No. I take that back. They're now owned by Ruger. Ruger bought them out. Mossberg. That's what it is. Mossberg 500. That's what I'm thinking of. I would say I'll go check, but that would get the dogs barking. Yeah, Mossberg 500. That's my 20 gauge. Let me see here. I don't know anything about left-handed versus right-handed weaponry at all. I'm sorry. I'm totally messed up on that. KF5HCR, welcome. KJ5HEF here. And then we've probably got some others here as well. Jack from Australia, welcome. Good to see you, my friend. And Jack had a good live this morning. It was his evening time, I'm sure. Jack, I think you're what, 13 hours ahead of us. So that means if it's 1700, no, it's 1900 here. So 1900 plus 1300 is 32. So 32 minus 24. So it's 8 o'clock in the morning where you are tomorrow, I believe. 8 o'clock on Wednesday morning. Theoxerus. So in my hunting rifle, you've got Winchester, you've got Remington, and you've got Marlin. And you got Henry as well. But I don't like the Winchester because it's tube fed, and then it ejects up the top. So because it ejects straight up, that means that it's difficult to mount a scope or anything like that on it. Then you have the Henry. Henry is tube fed, but it does eject out the side. So at least you can get a scope on it. But the way I look at it is, if you're going to use it in a semi-tactical type of a situation, I don't want to have to withdraw my weapon to open up that tube feed to put the rounds in. And they're all 5-round tubes, if I'm not mistaken. But then with the Marlin is both side fed and side ejecting. So I have a scope on it and everything else. That's my favorite deer rifle. So yeah. So the Marlin is my choice, my personal choice, as far as the 30-30 bolt action. Now I do have a Henry 22 that I just love. I almost love it more than I do my 10-22. But the Henry 22 is just a phenomenal little piece. But once again, it's tube. You load it from the front of the tube, push that rod down inside with the spring, and then you've got side ejection. So, but that's the way it goes. Oh, wow. Thank you, Kaylin. I will check that out. Let me write that down. I'm going to talk about this here because we finished the book. I want to go into a couple of his appendices, and I want to give you some other things we're going to be doing here on this channel in the near future. But I want to write this down. Readiness reviews. Okay. Okay. So let's get into some of his things here. And I think I'm quasi pseudo, almost kind of sort of caught up with the chat. Books and online resources. Of course, he gives those. He refers to his own website. Protecting your family from an influenza pandemic. Isn't that prophetic? But all the different things you can do as far as preparing your sick room, making sure you have the right equipment, making sure you have the right medicines and everything else on hand, and how to handle that. So that takes up quite a bit of the index. And then he refers to other channels, other people that he thinks that you might want to refer to. So it's great when people refer other people who are experts. And of course, Joe Alton was not active back at the time that this book was written. But I would say Joe Alton and his wife, Nurse Amy, and they have a fantastic site on first aid, medical, and all that kinds of stuff. So just a great thing to do. Oh, really? For Henry rifles? Wow. Yeah, I've got cheaper than dirt guns as far as ammunition. Oh, I was watching Such today, Sensible Prepper, at lunchtime, and he had a live at lunchtime, and I forget the guy's name that he has on with him, who owns a gun store and is a gunsmith. And he was saying that he is noticing at the major suppliers that they're beginning to have a decrease in the availability of ammunition. Does not mean it's an impending shortage. It just means that there is starting to be a little bit of a decrease in availability. Of course, we all know what that means. That means the price is going to go up, because as supply dwindles and demand increases, then price increases along with that. Armchair survivalist. That sounds good. There's a guy out of Tennessee, and he does primarily survival type stuff, not preparedness, but survival. He's a bushcrafter type of a guy, and I forget his name. Really knows his stuff, and really good channel. David, if you're into survivalism, I would also recommend David Canterbury. He is just phenomenal as well, and his channel, as well as his store where he sells bushcraft type survival stuff. So, and that's just a great channel as well. Doom and Bloom Net yes, that's their channel. Oh, okay. So I did math right. Wow. So it's 8 o'clock in the morning there. Thank you, sir. Tomorrow morning. I can't believe I did that magically in my head. Golly. Okay, so what I want you to do is we're going to start this other book next week, but I'm thinking next Monday we're going to have Michelle Minton, Prepper Veteran, back, and we're going to be talking about how to prepare your body for the apocalypse. What are some of the natural things that you can do starting now that are going to help build up some autoimmune systems in your body that are going to give you the essential minerals and vitamins and everything else naturally to strengthen your body, to give your body the endurance, the capability to fight off infection, the ability to do the strength and stamina things that you need to do. So that you don't, oh, my shoulders, what's going on here? How come one is higher than the other? But it's going to give you the ability to have more strength and endurance. And so we're going to talk about that. That's going to be all natural stuff. So we don't want to talk about taking artificial vitamins or anything else. We want to talk about how can you do it through some natural herbs as well as the way that you eat. The week after that, what I want to do is I want to start a 1-hour program. We'll see how far we can get into it on just setting goals and start planning for what is it that if nothing happens, and we hope that nothing does happen for the rest of this year, what are some of the goals that we want to accomplish over the course of 2025? So we're going to do that collectively. We're going to use basically his list of lists. We're going to start just ask questions. And then we'll ask the questions here. We'll get a couple of suggestions on solutions from the crowd, and then we'll go on to the next question. And the reason is because then you can use the answers from your peers here on the chat to begin saying, that's a good idea. I need to consider that as a goal for 2025. Or, hey, I have something better, and share that with the group so that they can say, hey, that becomes a goal for me in 2025. So what I want to do is I want to say, let's use his questions and your answers for all of us to develop goals and plans on what we're going to do for all of 2025 collectively. And our plans are going to be different because we're going to have different priorities. We're going to be planning for different things. We're not all going to come up with the same plan, but we are going to answer the same questions. How you choose to answer them is going to vary from person to person, depending upon what you're planning for and your priorities. And then we're going to start this book next Tuesday evening. Okay. So that's kind of what I would like to do. So that's going to be 2 weeks from Monday. So I believe that's the first Monday in September. Let me grab my calendar. One of the things I would also like for you to do, so today is the 19th. So yeah, it's going to be the 2nd of September. So one of the things I would like for you to do is if you don't have a planner, now is the good time to pick up a planner and start writing and planning in your planner. One of the things you might want to start doing is I put out a short today, for example, and I think it was Utah Mike. On the best thing you can do is have paper bowls. Okay, that you need to stock a whole bunch of disposable bowls for your preparedness, because I believe personally, I think that I am going to be using more soups, stews, and chowders than anything else. And so you can serve those in a bowl. You can't serve them on a plate. So if you're going to get disposable stuff, get disposable bowls. And I think it was Utah Mike came back and said, yeah, I have a year's worth of bowls for the two of us. And so I didn't ask whether that was 365 bowls for each, or they're having 2 meals a day, which would be 730 bowls each, which is 1,460 bowls. I thought, wow, that's pretty good. I don't have that. So it made me think. And I went out to the garage and I had to do a count. And so, all my bowls, all my disposable bowls, I only have 630. So basically, I do not have 1 meal a day for the two of us for 1 year. I need to get more disposable bowls. Well, we need to start thinking about things like that. So I would like for you in your planner to start keeping notes, okay, whether on your monthly pages, probably better on your annual calendar, of, for example, how many rolls of toilet paper do you go through on a week or a month? and then project that out for a year. If you want a year's worth of toilet paper, how much are you currently using per week? And then multiply that times 52. How much toothpaste are you using? How much hand soap are you using? How much laundry detergent? How much in paper towels? Dishwashing liquid. Now, to be honest with you, I think dishwashing liquid, you're not going to have enough, because most of us currently use automatic dishwashers. And so we're going to use something like Cascade in the dishwasher, and we don't have the Dawn that we need to wash our dishes. So I want to say, you probably need to stock up on a whole bunch of that as well. So I would say in your planner, get a good planner. And as you get, so my planner, I did this 2 years ago on what all we needed. It kept an accurate stuff on how much toothpaste we used, hand soap, bath soap, laundry detergent. Every time we replace something like that, I made a note. I started out doing it weekly, but then I lost it, because it gets lost in the confusion of everything else. So then I converted it over where I was using the actual annual planning calendar and keeping notes in the months, so that was easier to refer back to, so I can get an accurate count of things. I did not count my bowls. Isn't that crazy? Same thing with plastic spoons and things like that. So make sure that you're keeping an accurate roll. Yes, Aussie Life. I don't burn these. These go into a bucket out back, and anything that's cardboard or paper goes into a bucket out in the backyard. And then when I get enough stuff in there, I fill the bucket up with water and I emulsify it. I have I think I showed you the paddle I have. It's a paint mixing paddle that attaches to my drill. And I go in there and I just get all that stuff nice and mushy and let it soak for a couple of days. And then I put that into my biomass briquette maker and then press all the water out. And then I make these fire bricks, basically, from all of my toilet paper and paper towel rolls. And Helen just used up a roll of parchment paper, so I have a larger roll out there in the bucket right now. So creative redundancy. What is a dishwasher? Usually that's a private first class or lower. Okay, so let me catch up here with the chat. Gosh, you guys are so good. So much great chat. I saw that, Theoxerus. Isn't that fantastic? I can't wait to see that. The Long Ranger is a phenomenal gun. As a matter of fact, if I could get a 5.56 Long Ranger, I would be a happy camper. I think, or even, they also have the 6.5 Creedmoor. So that either one of those two, I would be a very happy camper. Let me check. I'm checking the chat, see if there's anything that we can collectively use here as we go along. Maggie, thank you so much for putting everybody's channels out there. I really appreciate that. That's one way we can support each other, is when Maggie puts somebody's channel out there. If you would just go and subscribe to it, that would be phenomenal. If we support each other that way, that would just be a great thing to do. If you have a wrench, if I have given you a wrench, then one of the things that you can do is off to the right, there's 3 dots. Go to those 3 dots, click on it, and it'll say go to channel. So then what you can do is just go to that channel. It'll bring it up in a separate tab and highlight, first subscribe, and then highlight that if you want to share it and bring it down and put it into chat. And I have no problems at all with anybody sharing links for people who are active supporters of this channel. If you're an active supporter of this channel, by the fact that you're here, that means that you want to help other people. And so other people want to help you. So please post away. If you want to post your own, if you have a special announcement, I'm going to be talking about this and I would like to have you copy and follow me. Please put those announcements in here, because that's how we're going to get through this, is all of us helping each other out. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I was 3 hours off. I'm sorry. So it's 11:46 a.m. on Wednesday. And so that means that what time is it here? It's 20:46 roughly. So 20:46, so 4 plus 11. Wow, you're 15 hours ahead of me. that's terrible. That's a lot. Okay. So I'll remember that 15-hour difference. No, today is August 20th, I believe. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is 20. That's what you said. Thought I saw 30. Okay. So let me see. TP is a funny one. We had a goal of 7-year preps prior to lockdowns. Then we made sure we have up to 7 years now. In 24, I say 2 to 3 year preps would be enough. Yes, I agree. I think about 3 years. But I bought some chemistry bottles, some chemistry lab bottles with the crooked neck. And so we can fill those up with water and kind of turn them into a bidet. And so, that's another option you can use. Back in the old days, they also used rags in a water bucket. And so you can just wash yourself that way. There are different ways once you run out of toilet paper. They may not be as easily disposable as toilet paper, but that's basically where we are. Yeah, and so Tuck by V, that happened to me today. Kind of the question about, can I make it through a full year for the two of us with bowls? And no, I can't. And I think we can with plastic utensils, but I have been known with MREs and everything else out in the field to use the same plastic spoon for a week at a time. And so I would have, typically with MREs, you're going to eat 2 a day. We could eat 3, but typically 2 a day is going to get you all the calories that you need in the job that I performed. And so I would eat 2 a day. And so, you end up with a stash of all the sundries. You have extra crackers and peanut butter and spoons and all this kinds of stuff. And I would say that for me, typically, now Helen's totally different. Helen won't reuse something unless it's washed. I can use the same spoon for a week. She won't. It all averages out. I'm checking here. Utah Mike, yeah, as long as you lick it clean. I mean, it's clean, right? Yeah, you use that. What is it? I think it's a lime green combination. On one end, it's a spork, and on the other end, it's a fork, and on the other end, it's a spoon. And you prefer the spoon, I've noticed, when you do your reviews. And yeah, so you save those little plastic spoons as well. I've still got some from the old sea rations. I've got some cans of crackers that I'm sure, well, they're probably still pretty good. We can see. Yeah, that was a thing in the Army, was don't wash my coffee cup. It's well seasoned. But Helen washes mine on a regular basis. You can see that, it's that. So for those of you who haven't seen my coffee cup, anyhow, that's my coffee cup I use on a regular basis. My second coffee cup is one that my grandchildren gave me, World's Best Grandpa. And then the other favorite one that I have is from Nutrient Survival. Right there, Nutrient Survival. They sent me a coffee cup. Fantastic coffee cup. Oh, by the way, they've got a sale going on that you get sample packet. With you order 1 can of anything, you're going to get a $35 sample packet of their most popular products. And so that's a fantastic sale. Oh, yeah. And today the sale for Thrive Life started. So if you go to leesprep.thrivelife.com, some items are up to 50% off. That starts today and runs through Saturday. So that's called the back to school sale. So you can do that. So we've got sales going on with Nutrient Survival. We've got a sale going on with Thrive Life. I saw a sale by Algerson Farms, is having some items on sale on YouTube, especially. Not YouTube, but on Amazon. On Amazon, they've got some fantastic sales. As a matter of fact, I took advantage of their sliced potatoes, and you saw that in my last haul video. So Aussie Life says, do not wash coffee or tea items. I'll tell you one thing that I have, and Helen gets she's not too happy with it, but I never put soap in my wine glass. So I rinse my wine glass. I'll use a washcloth and wash it out and get any mouth stains or anything like that out of it. But you will never see any of my wine glasses touch soap. I don't know. I was taught that soap basically leaves a residue that can affect the overall quality of your wine in your wine glass. So my wine glasses have never been, quote, washed. They've always been thoroughly rinsed. Okay, so I think we're pretty much it. What do you all think about the future? So not this coming Monday, but, well, I guess I need to ask the question. The 2nd, if I'm not mistaken, is Labor Day. Do we want to have a live on a holiday? Yeah, the 2nd is Labor Day. So the 2nd, that evening, Monday evening, do you all want to do a live, or do you want me to let you all have the evening off and kind of enjoy the transition to fall, and then we can or do you want to just go ahead and start planning that Monday night? So give me some ideas. Okay, so Maggie says live. Anybody else? Utah Mike says live. And yeah, don't wash cast iron. Well, you rinse it, but you don't wash it. Absolutely correct. And make sure you keep it nice and seasoned as well. In vivo from Kaylin. Okay, so we will have a live on Monday the 2nd. So start keeping track of your consumables and how much you're consuming. We are going to start going through James Wesley Rawles's list of lists. I'm just going to start asking questions. I'm going to depend upon the chat to provide the responses to those. Then don't forget that a week from Thursday, we're having Mr. Grammer here, and we're going to be talking about his book. So book 2, United. We're going to have a live drawing for a copy of volume 1 and volume 2 of his set, autographed, and he's going to ship it directly to you from his place. So Jack, well, Jack, that is a phenomenal solution. As a matter of fact, in Russia, it's called сделать тройку, which means to do a threesome. And that can be interpreted either of two ways. Okay, so in the old Soviet Union, they had a top on their 1 liter vodka bottle was kind of like the old pop top Coke bottles that we had, that metal thing that crimped over the top. So what they did was 3 of them would get together to buy 1 bottle of vodka. And if you chugged that straight out of the bottle, that was enough to get all 3 of you extremely drunk. So that was to do a threesome. The other one is for one guy to drink the whole bottle. When one guy drinks the whole bottle, then that's делать. So делать means one time, okay? Делать means that it's going to take place over time. So the S makes a big difference in the verb. But when you делать тройку, that means one guy's going to drink the whole bottle. So on day 1, you're drunk, okay? And on day 2, you're still drunk and starting to go into hangover. Day 3, you're totally incapacitated because you're hungover. So that's doing a threesome on your own, all by yourself. So you're totally out of it one day, kind of coming out of it the second day, and then third day you're worthless still, and finally on the 4th day you can go back to work. But so that's in Russia and in the Soviet Union. Okay, so with that, Numbers chapter 6 verses 24, 25, 26. The Lord be with you. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you kindly and grant you peace. Remember that we're all in this together. Thank you so much for the together community that we have. You do such a good job, but for everybody who's new and for those of you who would like to join us, you can only do so if you agree to be kind, polite, and respectful to each other, because we are the new country. After all this stuff hits the fan and we are rebuilding, it's going to be us and the country that we build together. And it's going to be one where we work together, we're kind, polite, and respectful with each other. And then at the end, we are going to be the basis of the new, more polite, kind, and respectful community. Okay. Thank you all for being here. I will see you Monday evening. This coming Monday evening is going to be live with Michelle Mitten, Prepper Veteran. Take care, everybody. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.